Ninja Bike backpack, is it worth it now in 2024 after Project Resolve? Right, so I have covered this a plethora of times in the past when it came out, and the general consensus among the vast majority of the community was it's a waste of time. However, now that we've had Project Resolve and those brand set bonuses have been changed, is Ninja Bike Backpack actually even worth a discussion? Now, of course, there's always going to be people that bring up the old adage of variety, fun, different, blah-de blah blah blah. Here's some variety for you. Some might even find this fun, and it's certainly different. Doesn't mean it's a good idea though, does it? Does it? Right, let's first of all address the elephant in the room, because obviously I have an actual dislike for this bag, so I am going to be biased. I mostly have a dislike for this bag, however, because although having fun and having a variety of different builds is all well and good, I am for this. People seem to be of the impression that fun and variety actually make something good, when in reality it doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, I had fun being in the army. I imagine being in the army is some people's worst nightmare. Different people, different perspectives. First of all, let's address the issue of you can't hit 100% Hasbro without Ninja Bike. Yes, you can. This is 100% Hasbro, and you've got, well, everything that says available is something that's not in use, so you can still work around it. So yeah, we can absolutely hit 100% Hasbro. Next one is pulse resistance. Literally every specialization gives you 50, 3-piece Jarl gives you 40, you just need one mod. Easily done. Now there's the caveat of there are very, very, very few areas where Ninja Bike Backpack does kind of creep into being kind of like a meta. And these are very, very, very niche to a point of where, like, I've only ever seen them once. One was literally yesterday, okay? It's the 23rd of April. I saw one on the 22nd. And we got Ninja Bike Backpack, obviously, Pristine Example for perfect focus, Sleep Near for the perfect frenzy, 2-piece Strikers, which gives us 3-piece, 1-piece Heartbreaker, which gives us, obviously, 2-piece, and then Contractor's Gloves. With Ninja Bike, we get the fire rate, the stability from Strikers. From Heartbreaker, we get the LMG damage and more handling. From Contractors, we get the damage to armor, LMG damage, as well as, obviously, the handling. And Pristine Example, essentially we're just going for perfect focus. The idea of this build is in Operation Iron Horse to destroy the pipes in Sniper Alley faster. You don't need, literally using this is quicker than getting to and using the rockets. It's a speed running thing. That's literally it. It's the only area where they use a build like this. So the point so far is that there are caveats. There really are. There's pros, there's cons. If you want to have fun and you find this sort of thing fun, go for it. I'm not actually here to tell you what to do or how to play. My point simply is, if you're going to be utilizing a Ninja Bike Backpack build or promote a Ninja Bike Backpack build, just be aware that there are a plethora of other better options. And when I mean better, I mean quite literally better. Now, one that came across my desk recently is a Ninja Bike Backpack build, and we're just going to use this as an example, not make an example of. I'm not going to be naming and shaming this person, and before people go, oh, that's just one build, this is the average type of build that I see people do with Ninja Bike Backpack. So first off, we have Survivalist, obviously with the fire grenade. We have Eagle Bearer, a GR9 with Strained, 3-piece Strikers, all rolled to blue core, Ninja Bike Backpack, Fenris chest, and then a Heartbreaker piece. This is effectively 2 red, 5 blue, 1 yellow. Now, there are a variety of things that are, we'll say, confusing about this. The first one being Survivalist. The only reason I feel like it's there is for the PFE. It will give you, I believe it's 10% PFE. However, this is described as a solo PvE build. The vast majority of enemies that you will find in solo PvE aren't really going to be elites. And if they are, that 10% PFE isn't really going to actually do anything. It's just 10%. You're still going to be taking 90%. In order to actually maybe make this worthwhile, you need to get PFE to like 40, maybe even 50% roughly to actually have a determinable difference between the damage you do take and the damage you don't take. 10% isn't going to cut it. Next up is Eagle Bearer in PvE. Now, there's a variety of things that this is an issue with, but most notably is the fact that there are just a plethora of better options, more accurate range, higher performance, higher RPM for the stack building of strikers, etc, etc. Thirdly, we're using strikers but without the backpack, and if you're not going to use a backpack, you certainly need a damage talent, otherwise it just ends up being a bit lackluster. Now, if you really want to go for blues here, you can go for a Bellstone or a Palisade backpack. Just make sure you have a damaging talent on the backpack and it will vastly outperform whatever else it is you're trying to actually do, simply because of the way in which strikers is going to multiply with those other pieces / talents. Next up is Fenris. This has been a conversation piece so many times, but since the introduction of expertise, things like Fenris are dead. Sokolov, kind of dead. The only reason Sokolov kind of really gets away with it is because the 2 and 3 pieces, crit damage and crit chance. Don't really need the crit chance, but the crit damage on an SMG build, very, very handy. So yeah, things like 1-piece Fenris, where we get into 2-piece, reload speed, great. Aren't really going to come in handy here, simply just because expertise exists. You'd be much better off going for something like Cheska or even Grupo. However, after looking at the stats of this build and trying to make it up, it is in desperate need of a Cheska piece. Now we have the loveliness that is Heartbreaker. Now don't get me wrong, 2-piece Heartbreaker, 15% AR, 15% LMG. This kind of puts it in the same vein as Fenris. It is slightly more. You will notice this a bit more, but you're losing so much due to the fact that you only have one attribute. You've got one core, which is going to be your blue here, and then what, crit chance or crit damage. That's basically your only option. So this is what I believe the stats are, or at least this is the best you can actually do with the pieces and the roles that are available. So this might not be 100% accurate, but this is the damage of this. So this is literally the best that this build can do, and it's directly comparable to a high end. It's actually worse than a high end, which is impressive considering Strikers is fully capable of doing about 50 to 70% more than a high end. This is worse. Now, if we just swap out for a Cheska Chesk and then a Memento and obviously go 4-piece Strikers, operating off of Flatline and Spotter, we actually get like a 21% increase on the AR and a 30% increase on the LMG, all while still operating with a skill tier 6 shield. So essentially, same survivability, you could argue more because we're now getting the regen from Memento, and we've also got a hell of a lot more damage. Or we could mix it up entirely, go Bellstone, Picaros, 4-piece Strikers with Elmo to help bolster our crits. Don't necessarily have to go Bellstone either, but either way, this does like near enough 40% more. Near enough 40% more. We are running Technician as well, so this gives us a tier 3 shield. Or we could run Gunner, go for a tier 2 shield but get 10% armor on killed. Could run Palisade and Gunner, or Palisade and Technician, or like a variety of combinations that will either give us more armor on kill, more armor regen, or a stronger shield, which for PvE is more than enough, especially in solo with this level of damage. The best tool for survivability is killing things before they kill you. The more you take away from your build in terms of damage, the longer you're going to be in the firing line. So effectively you're saying that you need more blue cores because you can't kill things quick enough. So you're going to take more damage, or kill them quicker and you don't actually have to utilize the blue cores as much, or if at all. So to answer the question of, has Project Resolved actually allowed us to utilize Ninja Byte Backpack in better ways? The answer is no. If you don't believe me, then please tell me how your 3-piece Cheska build with 90% health is doing. Sure, gimmick, but not already that useful. In the meantime, have fun, good luck, don't die. Bad for the health.